We start with Egypt, where the leadership has been hosting their highest level American visitors since the overthrow of President Mohamed Morsi in July. US Secretary of State John Kerry's brief visit to Cairo took place the day before Morsi's trial was due to get underway. As so often in recent weeks, Morsi supporters were out in force on Egypt's campuses. Kerry came to Egypt at the beginning of a wider regional tour. He has to reconcile two policy aims: maintaining America's strategic relationship with Egypt, which has been strained, and promoting the path back to democracy, the so-called roadmap. Despite the recent difficulties, he said the US is committed to working with Egypt.
I wanted to first express to the Egyptian people as clearly and as forcefully as I can, in no uncertain terms, the United States is a friend of the people of Egypt, of the country of Egypt, and we are a partner to your country. As I told Minister Fahmy in our meeting this morning, Egypt is a vital partner to America in this region. As President Obama has said, we are committed to work with, and we will continue our cooperation with the interim government. We have much to work on, and the minister and I this morning discussed very candidly the issues and the challenges that we face together. But we think there is agreement on many of these things, even as we need to keep faith with the roadmap and the path ahead to continue the march to democracy.
Well, we've got coverage from both Washington and Cairo. Let's hear from Sue Turton first, who's in Egypt's capital. Sue, a very short visit by Kerry, wasn't it? How was his visit received? What else did he say?
Well, he really talked about democracy a lot. I mean, he talked about how democracy could bring economic development, stability, and even tourism back to this country that so suffered economically since the tourists really left after so much protest on the streets. He also mentioned how Barack Obama has really welcomed reaching out by the interim president, Abdi Mansour, here to say, really, why don't we push aid to one side, push this whole argument as to the temporary freezing of aid for Egypt from the US to one side and have a strategic dialogue. And that was warmly welcomed, apparently, that handing a sort of that message out to Barack Obama. And John Kerry came back and said, yes, that's what we should do. We should move forwards with that. The body language seemed quite friendly. There was very much a sort of push forward as to we must improve relations because they have really become very strained. It was just on Saturday that the foreign minister, Nami, just turned around and said, we really are looking beyond the US now for help in security in the region. He's talked about multiple partners getting on board and helping strategically with Egypt and its many security concerns. So I think this really was an ironing out of that really strained relationship. And I think the interim government will really see, or at least welcome the fact that John Kerry has said that they believe that the roadmap, the constitutional changes, the committee that's putting together a new constitution here, and the promise of elections in 2014 does sum up to a kind of march to democracy.
OK, so you just stand by for us for just a second. I want to take us over to Washington, D.C., where Rosalind Jordan is for us live. And Rosalind, interesting timing by John Kerry, because, of course, it's just a day before Mohamed Morsi, the deposed Egyptian president, goes on trial.
Well, what senior administration officials are saying, Shuli, is that this is a coincidence. This was scheduled mainly as part of the strategic dialogues that Kerry will be holding with the leaders in Algeria and in Morocco. And it just so happened that Morsi is going to be going on trial in Cairo on Monday. That said, the Obama administration was very keen to take this moment to reiterate its long-standing concerns with how Mohamed Morsi was removed from power and about the raft of problems that have erupted across the Egyptian political and social landscape: human rights violations, suppression of the media, suppression of public protest, unwarranted arrests, and political persecution in the U.S.'s view. So this is an opportunity for John Kerry to deliver the message from the administration that if Egypt expects to maintain the long-standing relationship that it has had with Washington, that it basically needs to get its act together, and it needs to do so quickly.
Yeah, that message delivered loud and clear. Egypt has to go back onto the road of democracy. That being said, where does that leave then the U.S. relationship with the Muslim Brotherhood?
Well, the U.S. has been very keen to say that it's not trying to take sides, even though everyone has accused the U.S. of either being too favorable to the Muslim Brotherhood or being tacitly supportive of the military-led removal of Mohamed Morsi back on July 3rd. Kerry was supposed to be meeting with a broad cross-section of Egyptian political and civil society in the past hour or so. It's not clear whether he has met with anyone from the Muslim Brotherhood, but officials have repeatedly said that as part of their ongoing engagement to try to push the political process ahead in Egypt, that they have been in contact with members of the Muslim Brotherhood, and they have made a point of saying to the government that the Muslim Brotherhood, just like any other political organization, should not be singled out for mistreatment of any sort, because in the U.S.'s view, this is not how you promote a democratically elected and viable government in Egypt.
Ros, thank you. Back to Sue quickly in Cairo. So Mohamed Morsi's trial coming up. There are, of course, many pro-Morsi supporters who've been demonstrating. What's the security scenario in Cairo right now?
Well, the security arrangements are huge. 20,000 personnel are going to be on the streets across Egypt because the anti-coup alliance is threatening protests across Egypt. We're now hearing, though, at last minute, at the 11th hour, when we thought that the Morsi trial was going to be held in the police institute next to the Torah prison in the centre of Cairo, the Foreign Ministry in the last 10 minutes has put out a message saying they're now shifting the whole trial to the police academy, which is further out of town. It's not right in the centre, and it's where the Mubarak trial has been held. So they know they can hold security there. They're obviously had a couple of years to practice making sure that it can be held as a secure area. But really a bit of a shock, and we still don't really know the decision as to why this trial is to be moved. We did see pictures earlier on state television today of the Interior Minister inspecting the courtroom where we thought this court case was going to be held, the cage there, and looking at the various operational areas to try and make sure that they can keep the security firm in that area. But now, as I say, they're completely shifted. Whether they plan to do this beforehand, we have no idea. But it's only just been revealed that tomorrow morning, Monday morning, the Morsi trial will be held in a completely separate courthouse, and that courthouse is the one where President Mubarak has been on trial.
Interesting stuff. Sue, thanks very much indeed for that. Sue Turton in Cairo there.